Something big just happened in the US auto market. And if you're thinking of buying a car or even financing one, well, this really matters. The car bubble hasn't just started to wobble, it's starting to burst. And the evidence suggests it may have already popped. So, what's happening right now is reshaping the entire auto industry, and the consequences are far worse than most people realize. Now, we're about to break down how this happened, what it means for you, and what comes next. But don't click away, because halfway through this video, I'll show you the one move you should be making right now before the market correction hits full force. Meanwhile, just before we take a deep dive, it is imperative you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your future choice of car or SUV. And I promise you'll appreciate it. So buckle up and let's plunge straight in. So for years, the American auto market has been on a wild ride, pushing prices higher, loosening credit standards, and convincing people that sky-high car payments were just the new normal. But that illusion is beginning to crumble. The average new car now sells for more than $50,000, which is absolutely insane when you think about where we were just a few years ago. Back in 2019, the number of new vehicles sold for over $50,000 has doubled. Meanwhile, the number of models under $30,000 has fallen to just 18 in total. It's like the industry simply gave up on everyday buyers. Now, as this shift was happening, lenders started handing out subprime auto loans like candy. They were offering cars to people with bad credit at ridiculous interest rates. Now, some of these loans went above 20%. And that's double what a prime borrower actually pays. And these weren't just fringe cases. They became a massive part of the business model for used car dealerships across America. Then the first cracks appeared. Car repossessions are now at their highest level since the Great Recession, with over 1.7 million vehicles repossessed last year alone. Now, that's not a blip. That's a major economic red flag. And even worse, we're seeing entire dealership chains collapse. Tricolor Holdings, one of the biggest independent subprime used car dealers in America, filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy earlier this year, completely liquidated. They were handing out over $1 billion in high-risk loans. And when it all came crashing down, well, banks like JP Morgan Chase and Barclays simply lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Fifth Third Bank alone is looking at a $200 million loss tied to these loans, and federal investigators are now digging into whether the company pledged the same collateral multiple times. Now that, my friends, is financial fraud on a massive scale. Excuse me. When the banks funding subprime auto loans start losing hundreds of millions of dollars, well, you can guess what happens next. They stop lending. Credit tightens, approvals vanish, and suddenly, even people with decent credit can't get financing. Now, if this sounds eerily familiar, well, that's because it is. We've seen this movie before in 2008. Housing crisis, risky loans, everyone thinking prices would rise forever. Well, it's happening again, but this time the bubble isn't in houses, it's in cars. The entire American auto market is now split into two worlds. On one side, you've got wealthy buyers with high credit scores, stock portfolios, and rising home equity. They're the ones automakers have been obsessing over. Mercedes, BMW, Cadillac, Tesla, Porsche, all of them have spent the past few years chasing high-margin luxury models worth from $80,000 to $100,000, even $150,000 plus. Now, for a while, that gamble actually paid off, but the tide has turned. Even those wealthy buyers are starting to back away, and the fallout, well, it's brutal. Mercedes-Benz reported a 12% drop in US sales compared to last year. China, its biggest market, collapsed 27%. Tesla's Cybertruck, once predicted to sell 250,000 units a year, is now on pace for just, wait for this, 26,000 in 2025. And that, my friends, is a 90% miss. Tesla is sitting on $800 million worth of unsold Cybertrucks, and that's over 10,000 of them, despite the fact that they offer 0% financing, free lifetime supercharging, and free full self-driving software. Even that isn't actually moving the metal. Forbes recently called the Cybertruck the worst automotive flop in decades. Now, across dealer lots in America, the story is the same. A Jaguar F-Pace has been sitting unsold for 375 days. That's more than a full year. An Audi A6, 276 days. Even the Ford Mustang, the supposed all-American icon, is sitting on lots for over 7 months before anyone buys it. Now, these are luxury vehicles that used to fly off the shelves, but now they're collecting dust. Every single day that these cars sit, dealers are paying interest on them. They're losing money and they're getting desperate. Many are offering 0% financing, thousands in incentives, and still they struggle to move inventory. Meanwhile, everyday consumers are locked out completely. So with average new car prices near 50,000 and used car prices averaging over 32,000, well, affordability has simply collapsed. And now, with banks tightening credit after the tricolour fiasco, even qualifying for a car loan is becoming difficult. Over 20% of borrowers are now paying, wait for this, $1,000 or more a month just to drive. And by the way, that's 1 in 5 Americans committing to 4-figure car payments. Now, Morning Consult's chief economist, John Lear, recently warned that so many companies have become focused on catering to high-income consumers that if that bubble bursts, well, it could have dramatic implications across the entire economy. And the bad news is, he's right. And that bubble isn't just close to bursting, it's already cracking wide open. When you look at luxury sales falling, repossessions surging, and lenders collapsing all at once, well, guess what? You start to see a pattern. The industry built an entire business model around a tiny fraction of wealthy buyers. Now, even that group is pulling back, and the entire system, well, it's starting to shake. So the big question is, what does this mean for you? Well, if you're thinking about buying a car right now, you need to tread very carefully. Banks are nervous, credit standards are tightening, and interest rates are climbing. Getting approved is going to be harder, and down payment requirements, well, they'll simply rise. So if your credit isn't great, prepare for a wall of rejections or sky-high interest rates. Now, if you already have a car loan, hold on tight. The average monthly payment in America at the moment is $754. Now, if you're in that 20% and you pay over $1,000 a month, the bad news is you're walking a tightrope. If a recession hits, or hopefully this doesn't happen, that you lose your job, well, those payments could simply crush you. So make sure you've got an emergency fund. Protect yourself before the dominoes start to fall. And here's the big one. When wealthy people stop buying $100,000 cars, well, the entire auto industry panics. The same companies that ignored middle-class buyers for years, well, they'll suddenly scramble to sell affordable cars again. But by then, it may be too late. Layoffs will begin, dealerships will close, plants will shut down, and it will cascade through the entire economy. One analyst from Cox Automotive put it perfectly. We either need a much more viable low-cost alternative, or something has to change in the financial markets to make these cars affordable once again. Translation: without massive reform, this gets worse before it gets better. So if you're shopping right now, be strategic. If you're eyeing a luxury model, you hold all the power. These cars are sitting on lots for 200, 300, even 375 days. Dealers are desperate, and the good news is you can negotiate aggressively. Now, you might shave thousands or even tens of thousands off the sticker price. But if you're looking for something affordable, well, patience is your best weapon. This market is unsustainable and prices will have to come down. So expand your search radius, consider private sellers, and get pre-approved for financing before you step into any dealership. If you can wait, then wait, because the market correction is already starting, and those who rush in now, well, they could end up underwater later. Look, I'm not trying to be dramatic. These are the facts. The auto industry bet everything on the wealthy, and that gamble is failing. Subprime lenders are collapsing, banks are losing hundreds of millions, delinquency rates are spiking, and luxury cars are sitting unsold for over a year. Meanwhile, regular Americans can't even find an affordable car to buy. That's the reality of the 2025 auto market. So here's my question for you. Do you think this is just a temporary rough patch that'll fix itself? Or are we watching the beginning of a full-blown 2008 style collapse? Only this time, it's with cars instead of houses. So do me a favor, guys, drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Which is worse, having $100,000 luxury cars rotting on dealer lots, or having only 18 affordable cars left for everyone else to fight over? So if this video helped you understand what's really happening in the car market, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who's thinking about buying a car right now, because they need to see this before they make a major financial mistake. So my friends, stay informed, stay smart, and for the love of your future self, do not commit to a $1,000 monthly car payment unless you absolutely have to. I'm Steve with the Drive Right Reviews, and I'll see you, my fellow car enthusiasts, in the next one.